Okay, there. I'm going to talk about now. You probably heard this word before, Dakota. Did you know that there's a Dakota? It's called South Dakota. And what's more, there's another Dakota. It's called North Dakota. You probably already knew that. You probably knew that too. You probably knew, yeah. But like, do you know the differences between the two different Dakotas? They're different. They're not the same Dakota. I'm going to teach you the differences right now, so you know that Dakota, just because they both say Dakota doesn't mean they're both the same. Basically, you know what I mean? There are differences too, and you need to know that. So I'm gonna go ahead and explain now. First things. Now I'm from North Dakota. Okay. Now first things first. Don't get us mixed up with there's this other state that's called South Dakota. Okay. Don't get us mixed up with that one. It's a completely different state whose name contains the word Dakota. That's not our Dakota. That's a different Dakota. We're very adamant about that here in North Dakota, where I'm from. Right here, this one, North Dakota. We're very adamant about the fact that we're, whatever. So that's South Dakota, which is not this. It's a different Dakota, even though they both contain this word, which is Dakota. Now, there are a lot of differences. There's so many differences. One of the main differences is the locations of these two places are not the same. They're different. So, so the thing is like South Dakota. South Dakota is located north of North Dakota. That's why it's called South. No, actually, no. South Dakota is located south of North Dakota. That's why it's called South Dakota. You know. But then, yeah, let me just go ahead and I got this MS Paint thingy. Fantastic program. You see that? I can just do it like that. So South Dakota, let me give you an arrow too, so you know exactly what's going on here. South Dakota is located north of South Dakota. No, South Dakota is located south of North Dakota. And it's called South Dakota. North Dakota. Did you know that North Dakota is located north of South Dakota and it's called North Dakota? Well, if you didn't know that, now you know. So, that's part of I'm trying to teach you here all the differences. So so far I'm covering like the geographic differences, and also one thing to keep in mind. Let's say you're in North Dakota and you're like, you know what? I want to go to South Dakota. Which I don't know why you would think that, because I'm from North Dakota. North Dakota, why would you want to go to South Dakota? But suppose you do. At some point, if you like, most people say, oh, okay, if you're in North Dakota, you want to go to South Dakota, you got to go east. I think like 80% of people say that. Then like another, maybe like 30-40%, they say, you know what? Got to head west. West is where it's at. If you want to go from North Dakota to South Dakota, you go west. Some people would say, you want to go from North Dakota to South Dakota? North. I'd say about like 50% of people say that. But you know what? Only like whatever percentage left of people, they know that the secret is not to go. Not really a secret, but it's just like the navigational strategy. No, no, and no. If you want to go from North Dakota to South Dakota, your best bet. I would highly recommend going south, because if you go south, you start in North Dakota and you go south, you know what that's going to do? That's going to take you south. So yeah, but let's say you're in South Dakota, you want to go to North Dakota. At that point, you reverse the strategic maneuvers navigationally. So North Dakota to South Dakota, you're like, okay, I go south, boom, there it is. But if you go from South Dakota to North Dakota, I go north, whoop, there it is. So you do a reverse whoop, and yeah, you don't want to go east or west. If you're doing like some inter Dakota traveling, you don't go east or west, because come on, you're probably gonna end up in like freaking Minnesota or like Wyoming, Montana, Iowa, whatever. And you also, here's another key: if you want to go from one Dakota to another Dakota, don't just sleep in a hammock and call it a day. If you sleep in a hammock, you're going to end up in the same Dakota that you were in when you started sleeping, probably, unless the hammock is on a train that's traveling like west 40 miles an hour, not west, like north or south 40 miles an hour. Then yeah, so now I covered like the geographic differences. Let's get to the non-geographic differences now. Let me just tell you something about South Dakota. South Dakota, which is this one over here, is basically, it's a state that is basically unnecessary as far as like states go. There are like 50 states. This one, yeah, it's basically unnecessary. Now I'm from North Dakota, okay, In North Dakota is a state that is completely unnecessary. Basically unnecessary, this one. Completely unnecessary, this one. Our Dakota here in North Dakota, our Dakota is significantly more unnecessary than their Dakota. You can take that to the bank. Like here in North Dakota, we're very adamant about that. We're very just into that theme. You better believe, our state is unnecessary completely. So yeah, and then like another non-geographic difference is, I'm gonna go ahead and just like type this one out because it's very like important and stuff. Another non-geographic difference is the state motto. So like the South Dakota, I'm not gonna, if I have like a typo or two in this, I'm not gonna correct it anymore. It takes forever. South Dakota state motto is, because you can just type faster, and who cares about typos? You get what I'm saying. Is chicken tastes like chicken, except it does taste like chicken. Now also, you can eat it. So that's the South Dakota state motto. It's pretty good. Now here in North Dakota state motto. Take enter this one. Chicken tastes like chicken, except it also kind of tastes like turkey. And there you go. That concludes this tutorial where I teach you, how to know the differences between North Dakota, which is this one right here, and then you got South Dakota, which is this one over here, which is in North Dakota is north of South Dakota. South Dakota is north South Dakota. So yeah, there's that's a good educational video I put together. And if you want to come by North Dakota, I'm there. So you can come say hi to me or whatever.